back, ladies and gentlemen, to EV Nickel's channel, accelerating the transition to clean energy, discovering battery metals. Forefronting the industry today, we have a CEO, Sean Sampson. Welcome back, sir.
Hi, great to be back.
Always a pleasure to have you back, man. So you guys have been posting some pretty big news expanding here. First and foremost, EV Nickel to acquire extensive land package near your Langmuir project. Break this down for us. How big is this new expansion?
Yeah, really excited about it. We announced the beginning of this week that we're buying a very large land package, primarily around the Shaw Dome. So that's the area, the new nickel district that we're focused on, just southeast of Timmins. So we are picking up, we have 9,100 hectares now. So the existing land package for EV Nickel is just over 9,000. And this acquisition will bring us up to 30. So we're tripling the land package, more than tripling. So we're very excited about it. And it sticks with the same sort of prospectivity of the land we've been on. So again, we love the Shaw Dome because of its proximity to Timmins, and also the fact that there is grade, and there has been grade mined on this land, which is up around the grades that get turned into mines. So this is the majority of the land across the road, sort of north of where our package was. And we're just excited to pick up more and more of the Shaw Dome. This all, again, falls into the three things that we said we were going to do. Number one was try to find as much nickel as we can on Langmuir. And of course, that is the news from last summer's drilling, the drilling that's underway right now. That's us trying to figure out how much more nickel we can find across Langmuir. The second thing we're working on is trying to get our hands on more land up in the Shaw Dome. And this is a huge step in that direction. And then, of course, the third thing is beginning to put more meat on the bones of the clean nickel story. So that, of course, is future news flow from our company. We're excited to be talking more and more about that. But this week, the big news is this transaction and what it does for our very large land package on a very, very promising new nickel district, the Shaw Dome.
And when can investors expect you guys to start exploring that new area?
Yeah, so we're going to hopefully close up the transaction in the next couple of weeks. And then the first thing we're going to do is the same thing we did on Langmuir last year. We're going to reinterpret all the existing geophysics. So what that will allow is a picture of the entire Shaw Dome across what we own now, across what we're acquiring, and we're going to use the same consultants to figure out what the top targets are. So we're currently starting out our 10,000 meter drill program this year, and we may, depending on what happens from that geophysics numbers, we may reassess which targets we're going to go after with that phase 2 drilling. So first and foremost for us is to interpret the land. While we're doing that, we're going to apply for our drill permits. We have all the flexibility, we hope, and then we'll figure out what it does to our drill targets. So things may shift a bit on phase 2, but definitely there's more phases ahead as we explore a more than 30,000 hectare land package.
I'd say with that expansion and just kind of zooming out a little bit farther here, you guys did update your interim as well. Your balance sheet, 4.6 million assets, 3.9 million of which being cash, literally no liabilities of like 600K. Do you have any insights you could offer here? Cash spend a little bit or just something, some little anecdotes that the retail audience would appreciate?
Yeah, the important thing for us is we've got the cash in the bank to pay for this year's technical work. So the share price has not been performing as we'd hoped. For companies of our size and our stage of development, that's often a challenge because inevitably we're going to be raising more money ahead of us. But the great news is that we've got cash in the bank to pay for what we're talking about, and we're well set up. So we are concentrating on the business, delivering on what we said we're going to do. We've got the cash to be able to do that, and now we're excited to just continue to deliver.
Yeah, and I want to reiterate as well for investors that are looking for value plays here. I think the commodities market is where the real value is at, considering most of these commodity prices continue to shoot up to record highs, yet most of the commodity stocks continue to trade down. So I always implore investors to dig a little deeper here and see if they can find some value, especially with companies like EV Nickel. But I appreciate your time coming out today, Sean. Thanks so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. But real quick about the commodity point. There's been a tremendous run on the nickel price with these challenges and the terrible news out of Ukraine. One of the issues of the Western world isolating Russia is where almost half the nickel comes out of Russia. So that's, I think, what traders are looking at when they're trying to figure out what the nickel price should be doing. That's really short, medium-term stuff. I hope, God willing, things get sorted out in Ukraine and eventually things get sorted out between the West and Russia. But in the meantime, that's where a lot of the world's nickel sulfide is, which I think is what's driving the recent moves in the nickel price. What I'm focused on is I'm building a company for the long term. And I think long term that I'm still a nickel bull. I think that the bigger issue here is going to be the new demand category from electric vehicle batteries. And when you're adding on that whole new demand category, nickel is going to pivot from being a stainless steel story to eventually being a EV battery story. And that's all happening. It's still going guns ablaze, bad pun, with EV growth, and that's driving new demand. So if you've got a big shift on the supply side, that's sort of a medium-term issue. This issue of where's the world going to get nickel for stainless steel if it's not going to come from Russia. Let's hope that that all gets sorted out. But then meanwhile, you've got demand driving increased growth, and it's going to lead to a shortfall between nickel supply, global nickel supply, especially in the clean sulfides, and nickel demand as electric vehicles begin to really ramp up. So there's been some recent excitement, recent moves in the nickel price. That's not really related to the bigger macro issue, which is what we're building towards, which is the world needs more nickel for electric vehicle batteries. So I think the nickel price move that we've seen here is just the beginning.
Great points. And on that note, folks, I pass the question off to you. Let us know what you think in that comment section below. We'd love to hear from you. And as news continues to come down the wire, we'll update you here. So consider subscribing for those updates. But stay cool, stay awesome. And as always, I look forward to catching you in the next one.